Today, on 5-Minute Fundamentals, we're going to look at programming languages. What are they? What kinds are there? How do I pick which ones to learn? To start with, what is a programming language? A technical definition of a programming language might be a dictionary of instructions that can be given to a computer to perform various tasks. Essentially, programming languages are a lot like spoken languages because they provide the interface, which allows one person to communicate something to another person. Programming languages, in a similar way, allow a person to communicate instructions to a computer. Now, this is important because computers generally operate on code that is completely unreadable to people. So programming languages provide a way for people to write understandable things, which can then be compiled or interpreted into something the computer can actually use. In terms of writing things that are understandable to the computer, languages range from higher level, which are further from what the computer will actually use and often closer to spoken language, to lower level, which is closer to machine code, which is what computers actually use, and is often much more difficult for a human to understand. Some examples of high-level programming languages would be Python, JavaScript, or OCaml. Some examples of low-level programming languages would be assembly or machine language. Now, when you write code in a higher-level programming language, something normally needs to happen to make that code usable by the computer. In a programming language like OCaml or C++, which would be considered compiled languages, a compiler is used to transform the code into something called bytecode, which is machine code that can be understood by the computer. And then that bytecode is linked together to make a native executable, or a complete program for a specific operating system. This executable is then run on the kind of the computer that it's designed for at a later time. Now, there are some languages, like C# or Java, that take an intermediate compilation approach, where the code is still compiled or converted into something the computer can use, but they do that in a virtual machine at the same time that the program is actually run. This is a process called just-in-time compilation, where a virtual machine is run when the program is run, and the amount of code that's needed is compiled and then executed as it's required by the program. Now, this makes programs a little more portable, and usually stuff wrote in these programming languages can be executed on various platforms like Windows, Mac, and Linux without having to write additional code or do additional compilation to get different build targets, as they'd be called. Now, there are actually some cases where nothing needs to happen to the code, and these are called interpreted languages, which are read and understood by the computer and executed when the program is run, which often comes with some trade-offs in terms of speed and efficiency, since you're kind of just throwing your code at a computer and asking it to handle it. Some examples of this would be Python or JavaScript, or I guess HTML, if you consider that one a language, which most people don't. Ultimately, the key to choosing a programming language is to use the best tool for the job, choosing a language that excels in the areas that you want to work in. Now, as you become more familiar with different languages, that choice will become easier and easier. But often, just doing a search on the internet will get you at least pointed in the right direction, as long as you're not doing that search on Twitter. Now, like any widely diverse group, programming languages tend to lend themselves to favoritism and rivalries. So, in the spirit of programming humor and rivalries, I guess, I've compiled a short list of descriptions to help you remember which programming languages are best at what. I'll leave these up on the screen for you, so you'll have a chance to read them after this video is done. But just know that these programming language descriptions are basically infallible, and there is no way to dispute them. Until next time, this has been 5-Minute Fundamentals.